Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to give you my thoughts on The Green Hornet, which came out in 2011, and of course starred Seth Rogen, who also co-wrote the film, along with Jay Chow, Christoph Waltz, and Cameron Diaz. Actually seen this movie pretty close to when it came out, back when Comcast still had their on-demand thing going before all the streamers and such really taken off. Watched it with my dad, and he was a little more familiar with the old Green Hornet series. I really was not. I was pretty much just watching anything and everything, comic book, vigilante superhero related I could. Granted, I was 14, 15 at the time. And Seth Rogen was really picking up around this time as well. So I think I was actually a pretty good target audience for what they were going for here. Now the first thing to know is this is not meant to be like a straight adaptation. It's Seth Rogen taking it along with his partner and making it into something else. It does become kind of like a Seth Rogen comedy to a point, so I do think you gotta like Seth Rogen to like this at least as well as I did. But I think you should also look at that and be able to separate it too. It's not trying to fully emulate the original series. It's doing its own thing with it. I believe Green Hornet was Green Hornet before the Batman. It starts with Seth Rogen sort of being looked down upon by his father, who's a wealthy businessman. So he kind of loses himself in like comic books and the fantasy of that, a very relatable, quality for a lot of us. Something happens with his father. He inherits the company. He still has like this kid-like interest in, fantasy and stopping crime and everything. He gets this idea for what's eventually called the Green Hornet, not the Green Bee or anything. And he ends up, coming across Jay Chow's character, Kato. And then it goes from there, so it's him navigating very naively all that, being a vigilante in the city would encompass. And, it's not them trying to tell us Seth Rogen is this, tough guy, this brooding, Ben Affleck, Batman-like force or something like that these days. He gets his licks in here and there as it goes, but it's very much Jay Chow, Kato taking a lot of the the physical strain. Of course, Seth Rogen gets his gun eventually, but I gotta say I really, really like this movie. I did. I was surprised when it came out. I liked it. I remember all right, but watching it now, I really, honestly, thoroughly enjoyed it, guys. I think Seth Rogen and Jay Chow had terrific chemistry. The buddy comedy action aspect of it, I think, worked really well. I really enjoyed their dynamic. They're one of my favorite duos in a while. I get endeared to them a bit, and I just think they played off each other really well, and both delivered their lines well. Christoph Waltz, of course, I think was enjoyable here. I heard it was offered to Nicolas Cage at one point, which would have worked in its own way too. But Waltz is our primary villain. He's not exactly his Inglourious Basterds character, but he seemed to have fun enough for what it was anyway. Cameron Diaz, I think, I don't know, I could have done with someone other than Cameron Diaz. I don't know if she had the best chemistry with Rogen and Cho, but she wasn't bad in the film either. You have, of course, James Franco, and he and Rogen are still collaborating quite a bit, unlike these days, for obvious reasons, which we don't need to discuss here. But he's in pretty much just one scene, but it's pretty funny, and I think it's pretty hilarious that Rogen, he kind of came up with that one for him to be in. But yeah, there's practical car chases. The vehicle itself looks great. There's some pretty good, slick fight sequences for the time. Not even for the time. It probably doesn't get enough credit. It's done something at least as well as some of the more recent comic book films in terms of just the smaller scale fight scenes. Stunts. I generally thought the action was fairly enjoyable in this one. Sure, maybe not all of the humor lands, but the main breadth of it is again put on Rogen and Cho's shoulders, and it very much succeeds for me, at least because of them, in terms of the humor overall. But yeah, I guess I just really enjoyed this one, guys. I'd give it probably like a B plus, A minus. I just think it was a really, really easy watch. It is almost 2 hours, which seems a little long, but for me it just kind of rode by. It's unfortunate we didn't at least get a sequel out of this, but it, of course, didn't earn as much as they were thinking. Maybe the budget was a little inflated, but Seth Rogen has kind of touched on before, how the studio sort of mishandled both the budget and other sort of dynamics behind the scenes with regards to that. So, you know, I'm sure people don't try to dunk on Rogen at the time. Oh yeah, well, he shouldn't be complaining or whatever. People probably still would, but we've all seen how bigger studios handle these things these days, and it's kind of more out there. So it's unfortunate, but this is also just really fun as a one-off. But yeah, let me guys thought about this one. I think it's pretty underrated personally. Let me know what you thought. Follow me on Twitter, of course, TikTok, Instagram. Peace.